The king of the gods embodies raw, unfiltered power. Known as the godfather of the cosmos, he possesses the ability Adamus, which allows him to compress his muscles to an extreme degree, enhancing his strength and speed beyond comprehension. When he enters his final form, True Zeus, his body shrinks, but his power multiplies exponentially. In this form, his punches generate shockwaves capable of ripping through the very fabric of reality, as if the universe itself flinches at his might. But his most terrifying ability is his stamina. Thriving in prolonged battles, he outlasts opponents with sheer endurance. During his fight against Adam, the first human, he pushed his body to the brink, flexing muscles until his skin tore, yet he kept fighting with a grin that sent chills down the spines of both gods and spectators alike. His willingness to endure pain and sacrifice makes him one of the most formidable gods in the tournament. Zeus isn't just a powerhouse. He's a master tactician who anticipates his opponent's every move, turning battles into a mental game of cat and mouse. His meteor jab is lightning fast, striking with the precision of a bullet, making even seasoned warriors feel like they're fighting a living natural disaster. Facing him is like stepping into a storm. You can brace yourself, but there's no escape. He embodies the concept of dominance hierarchies from social psychology. As the apex of the divine order, his battles reflect the anxiety of maintaining power at the top. His relentless pursuit of victory mirrors the human fear of losing status and control, highlighting how power can be both a source of strength and an overwhelming burden. The Norse God of Thunder wields the legendary hammer Mjölnir, a living entity that grows heavier the more it is used, responding to his will to make each strike deadlier than the last. His signature move, Geirröd's hammer, unleashes thunderous force that can obliterate mountains in a single swing, turning the entire arena into a quake zone. Thor also possesses Jörngreipr, special gauntlets that allow him to control Mjölnir's overwhelming power. Without them, even he would be unable to wield the hammer, a testament to the sheer intensity of his weapon. His calm demeanor masks an insatiable thirst for battle, and his fight against Lu Bu showcased his devastating strength and unbreakable will. Their clash was a festival of raw power, leaving spectators questioning if the arena itself would survive. His battles aren't just displays of brute force, they're symphonies of thunder, where every blow echoes the might of the gods. Facing him is like standing in the eye of a hurricane, calm on the surface, but surrounded by chaos. He represents the paradox of control. Despite wielding unimaginable power, he is bound by the need for restraint, reflecting the human struggle with self-regulation. His calm exterior masks an internal battle against the chaos his power could unleash, embodying the delicate balance between strength and discipline. The Greek god of the sea commands the oceans with unparalleled grace and lethality. His weapon, the trident, isn't just a symbol of his power. It's an extension of his will, slicing through the air with the elegance of a blade dance. His amphitrite technique manipulates water currents to create inescapable attacks, while the tidebreaker move delivers piercing strikes that can shatter the strongest defenses, like cutting through steel with a blade of water. Poseidon's cold, calculating nature makes him a terrifying opponent. He sees both gods and humans as beneath him, and his arrogance is matched only by his ruthlessness. His battle against Sasaki Kojiro revealed not only his overwhelming strength, but also the pride that ultimately led to his downfall. A poetic twist, showing that even gods can drown in their own hubris. Watching him in battle is like witnessing the fury of the ocean, beautiful, relentless, and ultimately deadly. His attacks crash down on opponents like tidal waves, leaving no room to breathe or escape. He embodies cognitive dissonance, the conflict between his perceived invincibility and the reality of vulnerability. His arrogance is a defense mechanism to protect his fragile ego, illustrating the human tendency to overcompensate when faced with the threat of failure. The Greek demigod turned god represents the pinnacle of human potential. Wielding the club of labors, he channels the power of his 12 labors into devastating techniques. Each labor completed unlocks a new, more powerful form of attack, such as the Nemean lion's strength and the Hydra's venom strike. It's like a skill tree that keeps evolving mid-battle, each move hitting harder than the last. What makes him unique is his unwavering sense of justice. Unlike other gods, he fights not out of disdain for humanity, but to uphold what he believes is right. His battle against Jack the Ripper was a clash of ideals, pitting honor against cunning. The contrast between his righteous fury and Jack's sinister trickery turned their fight into one of the most psychologically intense duels in the tournament. Even in defeat, his spirit remained unbroken, embodying the true essence of heroism. His strength wasn't just in his muscles, but in his heart, proving that true power lies in unwavering conviction. In battle, he is like a fortress, unyielding, immovable, and built on a foundation of pure will. He represents virtue ethics, the idea that moral character defines one's actions. His sense of justice highlights the internal conflict of maintaining ethical integrity in the face of deception and immorality, illustrating the human struggle with moral absolutism versus moral relativism. Before we continue with the video, I want to ask for your help. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subs, so I'd really appreciate it if you would like to subscribe and help me out. The Hindu god of destruction is a force of nature, embodying both creation and annihilation. His ability, Tandava Karma, allows him to increase his power with each dance step, culminating in an unstoppable flurry of fiery attacks. Each step of his dance isn't just movement, it's a countdown to annihilation. The Devaloka form amplifies his strength, speed, and durability to divine levels, turning him into a blazing storm of destruction. His greatest strength lies in resilience. His battle against Raiden Tamiman showcased the ability to adapt and endure, pushing beyond limits. His fiery determination and unrelenting offense make him one of the deadliest gods in Ragnarok. Watching him in battle feels like witnessing a natural disaster with a heartbeat, unstoppable and awe-inspiring. His flames don't just burn, they purify, symbolizing the dual nature of destruction as both an end and a new beginning. Facing him is like standing before a volcano on the verge of eruption. You know the explosion is inevitable, but there's no escape. He embodies the existential concept of impermanence. His dance of destruction reflects the cyclical nature of life and death, illustrating the psychological acceptance of change as a transformative force. His resilience highlights the power of embracing life's inevitable flux, symbolizing both destruction and rebirth. The Greek god of the underworld is both regal and ruthless. Wielding the bident, a two-pronged spear, he commands the forces of death and darkness with elegance and precision. His ability, Netherworld King's Staff, allows manipulation of the energy of the underworld, channeling it into devastating attacks that can pierce even the toughest defenses. It's as if the shadows themselves bend to his will. Hades is not just about brute strength. He's a master tactician whose calm, composed demeanor belies a strategic mind capable of exploiting his opponent's weaknesses. In his battle against Qin Shi Huang, he showcased the ability to adapt mid-fight, using both psychological and physical warfare to gain the upper hand. Loyalty to his brothers, Zeus and Poseidon, fuels determination to uphold the god's honor, making him a formidable force in Ragnarok. He isn't just a fighter. He's a chess master in a game of life and death, with every move calculated to bring his opponent to their knees. Battling him feels like being ensnared in an inescapable labyrinth. Every turn leads deeper into darkness. He embodies the fear of mortality and the psychological tension between life and death. His dominion over the underworld symbolizes humanity's confrontation with the inevitability of death, while his strategic mind reflects the psychological concept of Thanatos, the death drive that compels both destruction and the search for meaning.
The Lord of the Flies wields the dark power of curses. His ability, Karanos, allows manipulation of vibrations at a molecular level, creating devastating shockwaves that can tear through any material. Knowledge of forbidden sciences makes him a master of both offense and psychological warfare. His attacks aren't just destructive, they're surgical, precise enough to dismantle an opponent from the inside out. His detached, almost clinical approach to battle hides a deep-seated madness. The fight against Nikola Tesla was a clash of intellect and innovation, with both sides pushing the boundaries of science and magic. His unpredictability and sheer destructive potential make him a wild card in the tournament. Watching him fight feels like watching a scientist dissect a frog, cold, calculated, and utterly ruthless. Mastery of curses is both an art and a science, blending dark magic with methodical precision to create chaos. Facing him is like staring into a void. You never know what horrors will emerge next. Beelzebub represents the dark side of human curiosity. His obsession with forbidden knowledge mirrors the psychological concept of thanatophobia, fear of death, and how the pursuit of understanding can lead to destructive outcomes. Detachment from morality reflects the dangers of intellectual isolation. The All-Father of Norse mythology is a god of wisdom and war. His weapon, Mjölnir, is a spear that never misses its mark, and his ability, rune magic, allows manipulation of the very fabric of reality. Knowledge of ancient runes gives him unparalleled control over his environment, making him a strategic and formidable opponent. His most terrifying trait is foresight. Sacrificing his eye for knowledge, he gains insight into possible futures. This ability makes him nearly impossible to outmaneuver, as he can anticipate and counter his opponent's every move. His presence in Ragnarok is both a blessing and a curse, as his wisdom is matched only by ruthlessness. He doesn't just fight, he orchestrates battles like a maestro conducting a symphony of destruction, with each rune a note in his masterpiece of war. Facing him is like playing a game of chess against a grandmaster who's already seen the final move. There's no winning, only delaying the inevitable. Odin represents the burden of knowledge. His sacrifice for foresight highlights the psychological cost of seeking absolute understanding, reflecting the tension between wisdom and despair. Ruthlessness underscores the ethical dilemmas that come with knowing too much, illustrating the existential weight of foresight. The Norse god of mischief thrives on chaos and deception. His ability, shape-shifting, allows him to change form at will, creating illusions and manipulating his opponent's perceptions. The trickster's edge lets him turn enemies' attacks against them, making him an unpredictable and dangerous foe. Battling him is like fighting smoke. Just when you think you've caught him, he slips through your fingers. His true power lies in the mind. A master manipulator, always several steps ahead of opponents. His playful demeanor hides a dark, cunning nature, and his involvement in Ragnarok is as much about personal amusement as it is about victory. His battles are as psychological as they are physical, turning every fight into a game where the rules are constantly rewritten. Facing him is like playing cards with a magician. You're always one trick behind. Loki embodies cognitive dissonance and the human tendency towards self-deception. His ability to manipulate reality mirrors the psychological struggle between truth and illusion, highlighting the internal conflicts that arise from living in a world where appearances can be deceiving. Chaos represents the unpredictable nature of human behavior. Each god in Record of Ragnarok brings a unique set of powers and philosophies to the battlefield. From Zeus's raw strength to Loki's cunning tricks, these deities represent the full spectrum of divine might and human ambition. Their battles aren't just tests of power, they're clashes of ideals, with the fate of humanity hanging in the balance. Whether it's the unyielding justice of Hercules or the chaotic mischief of Loki, the gods of Ragnarok are more than just characters. They're symbols of the eternal struggle between might and morality. As the tournament continues, one question remains. Can humanity's champions stand against the full force of the divine, or will the gods reign supreme? Let us know in the comments which anime we should do next. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss more deep dives into the world of anime.